So I want to talk to you guys about Belize, which is a place near and dear to my own heart. I feel like when I land in the airport, it's like I'm kind of coming home. I've lived a lot of places just myself as a young person growing up, and I honeymooned in Belize. So it was kind of fun to have a job later where they said, hey, what do you think about going to Belize? Hey, that place already feels really good to me already, so that sounds great. We have a fantastic partner in Belize. It's Celso Put and the Belize Zoo. So this has been a 6+ year partnership that we've had. Started with Sharon Matola and Celso, who both just do such an excellent job at the Belize Zoo, coming together with folks from the Cincinnati Zoo, as well as here at Miami University, to talk over kind of having this course. What could we work with and what themes could we think about that would be unique for this course? So we wanted to look at both the marine and the forest ecology. Since Belize is this fantastic place, it's a combination of cultures. Any of you could look like you were from Belize. There's just combinations from everything to like the darkest African person to like the whitest Amish person and everything in between. It's amazing, actually. I think right away that's what makes it such a draw to come, is you feel like you belong, which is just a nice feeling, especially when you show up somewhere that you've never been before. So it's a very welcoming community too. There's a lot of heritage and pride in your culture. So people very clearly would tell you that they're mestizo. And they would tell you they're mestizo, which means they're derived from African slaves. And everybody is perfectly fine with that conversation. And I think here in the US, we're a little bit different about that. We kind of worry about treading on all of these, oh, did I use the right term? So it's really freeing to kind of have people tell you their background. There's a strong Creole dialect in terms of language. So you're gonna see a lot of conversations. People prefer to speak Creole. So they're going to be speaking in kind of a Creole dialect, which is a bit of a broken English, so you can kind of understand bits and pieces of it if you're a native English speaker. People also speak Spanish, and they speak English. So in any conversation, you may hear any combination of all of that happening. Then there's also 27 different Maya dialects that still exist today in kind of varying degrees. So in terms of language, there may be Maya words tossed into a conversation. So right away, you can kind of get that flavor of just that it's a very diverse place. So when we start off, we head straight from the airport and we go right to the zoo. So we get a chance to settle in there. We stay at the Tropical Education Center, which is this really neat, they call them the cabanas. So they're these really cool little 2-person kind of raised up, I guess, little cabins that you'll stay in. They're really comfortable. Celso likes to call things rustic, which I love. So I think he's trying to tell you that it's maybe not quite the Hilton, right? But it's still pretty nice, and you're going to be surprised. It's also probably not the worst place you've ever stayed either. So you're going to get used to this idea of coming in and setting down your things. Like Kevin was saying, we always try to visit more than one location while we're in a country if we can do that. So we're going to settle into the Tropical Education Center, and we're going to get a chance to just get to know the zoo. So we're going to do some inquiries while we're there, get to know the staff. There are just some wonderful folks that lead the education programs, and it's a really unique zoo. Sharon started it after, and maybe you guys have read this story and you can kind of read the further details, but after a movie was being filmed in Belize, basically they had a bunch of animals that were necessary to show the natural landscape of that movie, and when it was over, they were kind of like, okay, well, and Sharon had been the animal trainer for the movie, so she said, well, what are you going to do with all these animals? Oh, we don't know, they were just basically just going to kind of like toss them back. So she thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I'm not going to do that. So she ended up opening up the Belize Zoo, and it's a really amazing zoo because it's all native Belizean animals. So it's really great to walk around, and it also just gives you that feel for the country. So we'll spend time in kind of what is like the pine secondary forest when we're at the Tropical Education Center. And from that place, we'll kind of take day trips to go out and visit other locations. So we'll have a chance to go to a Maya site and really get a feel for what is the historical culture of some of these areas. And we have a fantastic guide named Peter Carrera, and he is just a wealth of knowledge and information. And he has a Maya background as well, so it's really neat to hear him talk you through this place and paint the picture of what it must have been like to live in one of these places thousands of years ago. This idea of what was a community like? How did they do all this? How did they build these stone temples with not today's technology and be so successful that way too? So we'll do that. We'll also spend time at the Community Baboon Sanctuary. So this is a fantastic example of community-based conservation, and it'll really show us all of it. It'll show us how hard it is, how great it can be, We'll get a chance to meet community members who are part of that process. So this is a community that's come together around the black howler monkey, so locally called baboons. So that's why it's Community Baboon Sanctuary. So as we go out, we'll get a chance to walk on local trails that have been created in some of these conservation areas. Hopefully we'll see the baboons, but also we'll get a chance to hear a lot about the ethnobotany, a lot of the plants and how the plants are used for medicinal purposes. Part of what we've done for being part of this class is just getting a chance to talk over with local communities that, yes, of course we want to see a monkey, right? I mean, everybody does. But that's not really the main purpose of why we're here. So we've been talking a lot about how actually that walk on the trail, regardless of what I see, I feel like a very happy tourist at this moment. So we've been trying to talk over setting expectations, because so many times these guides locally are driven to maybe feed an animal to be sure that you're going to get to see it, so you get that really cute picture of like Jen with the monkey and everybody's really happy. So we really want to talk about the complexities of what community-based conservation takes, the toll it takes on people. Is it really the right way for a community to move forward economically and culturally? So that'll be something that we can really explore and get a chance to talk to local people about too. And we can share what you all know as well and kind of have that dialogue together. Then we totally change gears. Then we go out to the Keys. There are thousands of islands off the coast of Belize, and we go and live on one for a little while. And this place is an idyllic, is it one of the pictures maybe that went by? It is this idyllic little tropical island. Like you're thinking, no way, are we going there? And then the boat pulls up and you think, yes, we're going there. It's amazing. It's it's just it's several acre island, and about 20 to 25 year-round residents live in this island, and that's going to be our home base for the next few days to do some marine inquiries. So we'll get a chance to explore that marine reserve. There's a Smithsonian island that's leased by the Smithsonian Institute from a local family, where a lot of different research projects come out of. Also, we'll get a chance to see what a lab looks like on a tropical island, and then you guys will get a chance to swim in the water and get a feel in terms of inquiry, what does it take to do a marine inquiry. So like Baja, we get that same chance too. So these are very complementary experiences, but in really different places. So we'll also have chances throughout to be talking about some of the master's questions that you have as you're thinking about what you want these several years of this master program to be for you. Then we'll head back to the education center, kind of come back home after being gone for a few days there, and we'll finish up some of the work that we'll do at the zoo before you guys head out. Nothing is very far away from each other, so each of our drives are usually about an hour or less, maybe a couple hours once. So that part of the travel is pretty easy. And then we'll talk some of the other questions that you guys have posted online as well. So I think maybe with that, we can just kind of head straight into the questions.